All right, so this is LifePack 15. Just gonna go over some general functions of it, different rhythms that we use on it. The big green button on the right-hand corner is the on button. It says on. All the buttons on this, you have to push in the middle unless they have arrows. If they have arrows, then you push on the side. And so it has to be pushed in the middle, and you kind of have to hold the button for a few seconds. So when it turns on, it's going to turn on into an AD mode. So right now it's on an AD mode, and we know an AD mode functions that it will do all the analyzing for us. So all we have to do is charge and shock.
Push, analyze.
The patient is in a rhythm that would allow for that. So a lot of the providers at our hospital like to get it out of AD mode. So there's two ways to get it out of AD mode. The quickest way to get it out of AD mode is pushing the number 2. So all the functions on the LifePack 15
Push, analyze.
work from the top down. So anytime you're wondering what you need to do, just get to the section you want to work in and work from the top down. So to get it out of AD mode to a manual mode, you can push 2. And now we're in a manual mode. If the patient, let's do, so that's one way to get it out of AD mode. The other way to get it out of AD mode is by pushing lead. And this feature is super important because we had a cardiac event at our hospital in the last couple of years where no one knew how to get it out of AD mode, and they were trying to see the rhythm, but they couldn't see the rhythm because it was in AD mode. So if you have one takeaway from today, it's to remember to push the number 2 to get it out of AD or push lead. So now we're in a manual mode. Name that rhythm. Normal sinus rhythm. Right. So for normal sinus rhythm, mechanically, do we need to do anything for that? No, nothing. Okay, perfect. Good. But let's say the patient was in this rhythm. So that rhythm is sinus Brady. Right. So say the patient was, we're talking about an adult patient here, or for you guys, if it was a PD patient, a rate of 40 is too low, obviously, and they're symptomatic. So if mechanically, what could we do for someone that is in a Brady rhythm? Who knows? So I know you need to pace somebody that is in a Brady rhythm that is symptomatic. So there's a whole section over here, the pacer section, this green box. So when you need to pace someone that is going, their heart rate is going too slow, you go right to the pacer section. And you push, can you talk to her? You push the pacer button and it will turn the pacer on. And then there is 2 other things that you need to do to actually get the pacer to work. So you'll see there's little triangles at the top of every QRS complex, but it's still at a rate of 40. So the first function you need to do is increase your rate to tell the heart where you want to go. So for an adult patient, a rate of 60, is usually good. If you wanted to change the rate, go up and down right here. Or you can toggle using the toggle button here, which will go up in 5 increments of 5. So let's just say we're happy with 60, so that's our rate. So that's where we want to go, but we're still at a rate of 40. So the next thing is you have to increase your current or your amplitude. So so give it energy essentially. So I increase this. So this kind of pacing is called transvenous pacing. So the pacer pads go anterior to posterior. And it does work if you put your pacer pad to the top right and to the bottom left. It will still pace somebody, but the optimal position is anterior to posterior. So the current is going through, on some people, potentially a lot of subcutaneous fat. So the energy has to sometimes go up quite a bit. So as the energy increases here, I start to see the spikes. And some people think, oh, I got spikes, I got capture. And that's not true. What you're looking for is a change in morphology of the QRS complex. And you'll see when I keep increasing my energy, my current, it changed right there. So you have a spike, you have a QRS complex that the morphology changed, and the third thing that happened is the little triangles on top of the QRS disappeared. And so now you know you have capture. So this is 100% capture. At this point, we recommend turning it up 5 milliamps or current to just confirm that that capture stays in place. I'm just going to show you that one more time just so you can kind of see the changes. So here, spike, straightforward complex, triangle on top of it. We increase our current. And then it changed right there. A spike, change in morphology, and triangles disappear. So working from top to bottom in the green box, the next thing is the pause button. So sometimes the physician will say, I want to be able to see what the underlying rhythm is. So instead of turning the whole machine off, if you just push and hold the pause button, it will show you the underlying rhythm. And you'll see the triangles again. That means you're not being paced. And it won't allow you to hold it greater than 10 seconds, and it will automatically kick back in to the pacer mode. So that's the pacer settings. Turn on the pacer, increase your rate, increase your current until you have that capture, and then your pause button. And also medicate your patient, because this probably isn't going to feel very good to them. So that's if someone's a little Brady. Now let's say they do the complete opposite, and let's say they are in this rhythm. So name that rhythm. So sorry about my machine, sometimes it kicks in and out, but let's just say it stayed this little strip right here. So that strip is SVT. So what can we mechanically do for someone that's in an SVT, supraventricular tachycardia? So a lot of people will say cardioversion, and that is true. We're going to cardiovert them, but what's really important so you can understand it with our machine is that we want to synchronize cardiovert them. And that's important because you have to remember to hit the sync button first. And once you push the sync button, you'll get those little triangles. And what that tells the machine is that when we deliver the shock, we're going to deliver the shock on the QRS complex, which will prevent that R on R phenomenon. If we didn't push sync right now and we delivered a shock, it could send the patient into a VFib cardiac arrest rhythm. So that would be bad. So always have to remember, synchronize cardioversion. You want to sync the beat first before you go and cardiovert them. So now that it's synced, we would go based on the algorithm for PALS or ACLS, and you would increase your energy. For ACLS, it's 50 to 100 joules for the initial shock. So you just increase or decrease your energy joules, and then you would charge and then push the shock button. Make sure everyone is clear first. When you push the shock button, you want to make sure you push and hold it. And the reason you want to push and hold it, it's going to feel like milliseconds, but then it will actually deliver it on the triangle. If you just push it really quick and let go, there's potential for it not to get delivered on the triangle. So that's SVT. Someone's heart is going way too fast and we need to slow it down. Just remember to sync, figure out based on the algorithm how many joules, charge, and shock. The other thing to note with the synchronized cardioversion, you'll notice that green light went off. So once you sync them once, the next time if it failed and you needed to do it again, then you need to hit sync again before you cardiovert them. So that's too fast, too slow. Let's say someone was in this rhythm. What rhythm is this? VFib. So yes, it's VFib. Is this a shockable rhythm or not shockable rhythm? Shockable rhythm. This is a shockable rhythm. So if it's a shockable rhythm, anytime you have a shockable rhythm, either VFib or pulseless pulseless VTAC, immediately go to your gray box and shock them. Anytime, during any event. If this shows up, VFib and pulseless VTAC, go to your gray box and start at the top and go down. Now, if you don't have an algorithm right by your side and you're like, I don't know how many joules to shock them at, there's this great little tool up here for recommendations on how much joules. So it's 200, 300, and 360, which means the first joule that you shock them at will be 200. And then if we had to shock them again, it would be 300. If we shock them a third time, it's going to be 360.
But peds, that's adult. 2 to 4 joules.
2 to 4 joules per kilogram
Yeah.
for the first and second shock.
Yeah.
Yep. Which for peds, you would have to take the book out. It's like on the top of the code card, it will say how many. Charge and shock it.
Okay.
So those are kind of the main functions of going too slow, going too fast, and then the 2 shockable rhythms.
Okay. Thank you.
Good.